"Hey, old-timer, you missed a spot," one cadet laughed, tossing a crumpled napkin onto the walkway as the others burst out in quiet snickers. The elderly man sweeping the parade ground didn't flinch. Dressed in khaki coveralls, his grey hair tucked under a worn ball cap, he kept his head down and his broom moving. "Think he even knows what base this is," another said, nudging his friend. "Probably just here because he can't afford retirement." The others chuckled, watching the man move slowly across the pavement, his hand steady despite the tremor in his knuckles. None of them knew his name. None of them cared. To them, he was just the janitor, invisible, forgettable, and old. He didn't respond. He never did. For weeks they'd passed him without acknowledgement, sometimes mocking, sometimes just ignoring. And yet every morning he arrived before sunrise, swept the same path from the mess hall to the flagpole, and quietly disappeared before noon. He never made a fuss, never spoke more than a few words. But that morning, something changed. The cadets gathered information for a visiting officer's inspection. The base commander himself, the highest-ranking officer most of them had ever seen up close. Tension buzzed as they adjusted their posture, polished their boots one last time, and tried to look like they hadn't been laughing seconds earlier. The commander's SUV pulled up. The doors opened. Silence rippled through the ranks. He stepped out crisply, uniform gleaming, every medal perfectly aligned. He looked over the formation once, his expression unreadable. Then, without a word, he turned and walked right past the cadets. Confused murmurs started. The drill sergeant looked alarmed. The commander didn't stop until he reached the far corner of the grounds, where the old man stood with his broom, back turned, still sweeping. The cadets watched, stunned, as the commander came to a halt. "Corporal James Beckett," the commander said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "you're still keeping this place sharper than we ever did." The old man slowly turned, his posture straightened by instinct. He nodded once. "Just doing what I can, sir." And then it happened. The base commander, one of the most decorated men on the field, raised his hand and saluted. "Sir," a cadet whispered in disbelief, "he's saluting the janitor." "No," another replied quietly, "he's saluting a Marine." The commander turned back toward the cadets. "For those of you too young or too busy laughing to know his face, Corporal Beckett was a combat engineer in Vietnam. 2 tours. Saved 5 men from a collapsed tunnel under enemy fire. Bronze Star, Purple Heart, and this base, half the drainage systems are still running today. He built them before most of you were born." Silence fell like thunder. "He doesn't sweep this place because he needs a paycheck," the commander continued. "He does it because this ground matters to him, because you matter to him, and you thought he was just the janitor." The cadets looked down. A few shifted uncomfortably. One stepped forward, eyes wide. "Sir, I didn't know." "Now you do," the commander said. The broom in Beckett's hand never moved. He simply looked out at the field he once trained on. The field he now maintained, not for glory, not for rank, but for legacy. "Respect," the commander said, scanning the cadets, "isn't measured by shine on your boots or stripes on your sleeve. It's measured by how you treat the ones who've already walked the path you're just beginning." No one laughed after that. Not that day. Not the days that followed. Later, Beckett walked the length of the grounds again. This time, cadets moved aside, some even standing at attention as he passed. One cadet stepped out and offered to carry the broom. Beckett smiled and declined. "I've got it, son," he said. "Been doing it long enough." A new plaque appeared near the flagpole a week later. It read, "In honor of Corporal James Beckett, a Marine, a builder, a keeper of legacy." And every morning after that, as the sun rose over the parade ground, boots hit the pavement a little quieter. Eyes lifted a little sooner, and cadets stood just a little taller. Not for inspection, but because they'd learned that real service doesn't end with a uniform. Because the greatest warriors don't need to speak loudly, their footsteps speak for them. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment, where are you watching from? If this story touched you, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and drop a karma in the comments below.